truth. You can't handle the truth. Truth.
And now, live from the Star Worldwide Studios Tower, overlooking the 5th largest city in America and heard worldwide, it's the Josh Bernstein Show. Liberal hypocrisy and leftist lunacy exposed and dismantled with intellect and facts. And now, here's your unapologetic host, Josh Bernstein.
Good evening, Patriots. How's everybody doing? Hopefully everybody had a great week. We had a great debate the other night, and we had Veterans Day just the other day. So the first thing I want to do is I want to talk about Veterans Day. Number one, I want to thank every single person that has ever served our country, man or woman that has ever served, died, and sacrificed for America. God bless you all. God bless all your families. You've done amazing things for this country, for the preservation of freedom and liberty, and we thank you so much. And Veterans Day is a very important holiday. It's not just a day off from work or a day off from school. It means a lot more. And to those veterans that are out there, God bless you, and thank you so much for your service. Now, before we get into the show today, we're going to be speaking a little bit later on with Charles Butler. He is a radio talk show host extraordinaire. He's an activist and soon-to-be writer. He's working on his first book. So we'll talk to him a little bit more. We'll do some post-debate analysis. This actually was a debate this time, thankfully, instead of the public execution we saw on CNBC. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the program. But before we get into the different stories that I want to talk about, I wanted to do a top 10 list. There is no particular order to this. It's my personal top 10 list. Yours may be different. But I was going to say, for Veterans Day, what would be the greatest war movies of all time? Again, no particular order. Here's my top 10. American Sniper, Full Metal Jacket, Platoon, Saving Private Ryan, Patton, Apocalypse Now, Schindler's List, Glory, The Deer Hunter, and Lone Survivor. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of other great war movies out there as well, but that's my top 10 list. Again, thank you, veterans, for everything that you do. And one more thing. There's a new movie coming out called 13 Hours, and it's supposed to be a real, true-life account of what took place in Benghazi. I am hopefully optimistic that Michael Bay, the director of this movie, who's done a lot of great big blockbuster movies in the past, I'm hoping that this is not another Zero Dark 30 left-wing hit piece. I'm hoping that this is something that's going to shed some light on what truly may have happened in Benghazi. I will not be holding my breath, as this is coming from Hollywood, and I do hope that this is not another left-wing hit piece. But I can tell you this, I will go out and see the movie, and after I do, I will report it to you folks what I thought of it. Okay? Now, let's switch gears. Let's talk about what just happened here a couple days ago. The Fifth Court of Appeals finally has given Barack Obama another smackdown as they refused to lift the stay, if you will, on his executive amnesty program, his illegal executive amnesty program. So now the administration is faced with really one other option, and that is, of course, to bring it in front of the Supreme Court. Now, will they win that battle? I don't know. Hopefully, if they interpret what the Constitution clearly says, which is that Congress has the right to formulate laws and govern on the rules of naturalization, not the executive branch. If they interpret the Constitution correctly, then yes, we should be fine. But we also have to understand that the Trans-Pacific Partnership, in all its 5,000 to 6,000 pages, as Ted Cruz said the other night in the debate, there's more pages in that bill than there are in the Bible, or I think he said it for the tax code, but you could probably think, which is the TPP. There are immigration language in the TPP that allows the floodgates to open up on immigration. So this administration is doing a wink, wink, nod, nod, because they don't really care about executive amnesty, because if we can get this up or down vote, is what they're thinking, on the TPP, they're going to get all the immigration that they want. See, that's the insidious, draconian, hidden part of the Trans-Pacific Partnership, specifically because of that. Now, North Carolina has recently passed a bill banning sanctuary cities, banning sanctuary policies, and making it against the law for city officials and state officials to not adhere to these new policies and to not adhere to federal law. We saw what happened last week when the San Francisco city official was thrown out for sanctuary cities. And we're starting to see that some of these states are now turning against sanctuary cities, thankfully. And ultimately, maybe some of these states are going to pass their own immigration policies, regardless of what the federal government says. I know that Rick Perry in Texas was talking about that, and some others have been talking about that. Now, the left, obviously, they want open borders. They are pro-amnesty. They want everything they want. You saw on the debate stage this John Kasich guy and Jeb Bush. They were trying to outdo each other, who could be further to the left and coddle up to the illegal immigrants more and more and more during that debate. It was a disgusting display. But what's even more disgusting than that is this video. Go ahead and roll this tape.
Call me Rick, but you keep calling me Anchor, baby?
Wow, racist thick? When you say Mexican immigrant,
are rapists, murderers, and drug dealers?
You know it's racist code for words like
Spics, wetbags, and be nurse?
And you have attacked people!
For speaking Mexican in this nation?
It's Spanish, idiota.
Maybe a little less hairspray and more education? Millions of working Latinos would be deported.
If you get your loco way, pendejo, if you're in the White House for America, it would be nothing but...
Okay. As you can see in this disgusting, vile, deplorable, depraved video, you have young kids cursing. Young kids cursing at Donald Trump, calling him all kinds of names, telling him to F off, telling him all these different things. Now, the part of the clip that I used, I purposely used the parts that did not have so much of the inflammatory language. I believe the only word that you hear is a surname for the name of Richard. Okay, I made sure that the F words and some of the others were not out there because I don't want to display that on my show. All right? Now, these kids are being used. This is exploitation of minors, in my opinion. The people that created this video need to be charged because this is child abuse. Now, you may disagree and you may think differently, but I say having young, impressionable minds go on television, on a video, and scream and curse at the leading frontrunner for the Republican Party is not only classless, but I believe it is a form of child abuse. Now, I did some research and I tried to find out who is behind the scenes of this video. Well, if you go to DeportRacism2016.com's website, in the About Me section, there's nothing there. You can't find any information. So I did some digging, and I did some digging, and I did some digging. And what I came up with is this disgusting, vile person who is by the name of Luke Montgomery. Luke Montgomery is a far-left radical. He has done previous videos with the profanity princesses, if you've seen those videos, in which he has young girls that look like they're 5, 6, 7 years old, cursing back and forth between themselves, talking about women's rights and how women get paid less, and it's like this, pro-feminist type of commercial, another vile and disgusting commercial. So again, the person behind the video isn't even Hispanic, yet he's using all Hispanic children to push amnesty in America. So who is this Luke Montgomery? Well, Luke Montgomery, again, is a political activist. This is somebody that actually changed their name a few years ago to Luke Sissyfag. Okay, let me repeat that. This guy actually changed his name legally and then changed it back to Luke Montgomery to Luke Sissyfag a few years ago. When asked why, he said that because he was gay and he used to get beat up, the kids used to call him sissy and they used to call him faggot. So that's why he did that. Now, he's since changed his name, but ever since he's been a young person, he has been pro-gay, he's been pro-amnesty, he's been pro-unions, he's an absolute radical. And he's using children, of all things, he's using young, innocent, impressionable young children in his ads. Okay? It's almost like the Palestinians using their children to say that the Israelis are being the aggressors when they throw bombs and missiles into Israel. Then they go and they say, oh, look, and then they go to Reuters, and then Reuters does the doctored pictures and shows them with a couple of dead children. Why? Because they use the children as shields. Well, there's no difference here. Why couldn't this person who wanted to make this statement, why couldn't he use adults to make this statement? No, no, no. Instead, he had to use children to make this statement. It's deplorable. It's despicable. And I challenge him and any other left-wing radical activist to come on my show and talk to me and show me how amnesty is good for America. I'll be polite and we'll have an intellectual conversation, but I would put that offer out there. Now, let's switch gears here to the next thing that I want to talk about. You know, in the video, you'll see that these kids talk about how it's their right, it's the Bill of Rights, it's the fact that they are U.S. citizens, okay? I'm here to tell you, not just Donald Trump, but I'm here to tell you that that is not exactly correct, okay? The 14th Amendment has certain famous words in it. Subject to the jurisdiction of. Subject to the jurisdiction of, meaning that Congress has the will and ability to determine who is and who is not a citizen. Therefore, when you use the term anchor baby, it is a correct and factual term. They are being anchored into America because our politicians do not have the intestinal fortitude to actually look at what it says in the 14th Amendment and say that these people are not U.S. citizens. Now, again, you may disagree with me, and who knows what's going to happen here. At some point, maybe this will end up back in front of the Supreme Court. But to say that they are automatically U.S. citizens is a falsehood. It is not true. Okay? Now, that's pretty much all I really needed to say about that. I think the video speaks for itself. I think it's disgusting, and I think it's deplorable. And again, if you look at the reactions from the media on it, they're all saying the same thing. That it was over the top, that it was exploitative of the children, and more importantly, it didn't have the damning effect that they so wanted it to do. We'll be right back.
You're tuning into the Josh Bernstein Show, where Josh covers the news the way the liberal media would not dare.
It's 3 a.m. and your children are safe and asleep. But there's a phone in the White House and it's ringing. Something's happening in the world. Your vote will decide who answers that call. Whether it's someone who already knows the world's leaders, knows the military, someone tested and ready to lead in a dangerous world. It's 3 a.m. and your children are safe and asleep. Who do you want answering the phone?
I'm Hillary Clinton, and I approve this message.
I'm Josh Bernstein, and I approve this message.
Every once in a while, someone needs a hand. To hold. To comfort. To lift. All across America, people are joining hands with AMAC to support our nation's greatest values. Every AMAC member makes a difference, and the more who join, the stronger America will be. Stand with those who stand for freedom. Join AMAC. Better for you. Better for America.
Hi, Josh Bernstein here. Let me tell you about a fellow conservative and patriot named Arthur Mills. Arthur Mills spent 21 years serving our country. Now medically retired, he's still serving our country, but he's writing books now on how to protect it. Arthur has written 4 books, including the award-winning The Empty Lot Next Door. Unfortunately, due to his medical injuries sustained serving our nation, he must now use speech recognition software in order to write his books. His latest book, Friend or Foe, is an amazing story. Friend or Foe is a fun and entertaining modern-day animal farm that covers economics, environmentalism, and immigration. This story will help open the eyes of your children to the dangers of big government while frightening older readers with its modern-day relevance to many of today's issues. Friend or Foe is available for only $2.99 in both paperback and ebook versions at Amazon or through Arthur's website at www.branchingplotbooks.com. VA benefits only go so far, folks. Please, order Friend or Foe today.
You're tuning into The Josh Bernstein Show, where liberalism is a mental disorder. And Josh is the cure.
Welcome back to the program. Again, a little bit later on, we're going to be joined by Charles Butler, and we're going to talk about the post-debate analysis, who did good, who didn't, who won, who didn't, all that good stuff. So we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. Just here recently, we saw that Matt Bevin won the governorship in Kentucky. We saw that they threw out the sanctuary city officials in San Francisco. And there's been some good victories, if you will, for freedom and liberty in America. Okay? Well, one of them was happening in Houston, Texas. And in Houston, Texas, Mayor Annise Parker, who is a far-left liberal, she's got to be the most radical mayor, for sure, without a doubt, the most radical mayor that America has ever seen. There's no question about it. She's a committed leftist. She's a lesbian. She has an adoptive black son who is also gay, which, again, nothing against that. But ultimately, it's taking her lifestyle and taking it and making it that everybody else in Houston and around Texas has to abide by her belief system. That's where I have the problem. What people do in the privacy of their own home is their business. It's when you then take your business and try to make it everyone's business that I and others have a problem. So she did this bathroom ordinance, this hero, falsely named hero. See, the left likes to do that. They like to falsely name something to make it sound better than it is. Anyway, it's a bathroom ordinance that would allow, if it passed, it would allow men to use the women's bathroom, women to use the men's bathroom, and vice versa. Okay? It's a sick and twisted thing, and they're trying to equate it to slavery. So, for instance, because people were in chains and were told what to do and had no rights and were owned by other people, that somehow equates to people being able to use the men's or women's bathroom in the year 2015? I don't think so. It's a horrible argument, and thankfully, the people of Houston, Texas, saw through the rhetoric, saw through the garbage, and unanimously voted to knock this ordinance down. I believe it was 61 to 39%. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to watch this very short clip of Annise Parker and pay close attention to the language that she uses. Go ahead and roll this clip.
The process here has been unlike any other city in America, and we should be proud of that. But I have to say that this is intensely personal, and the idea that we're going to be able to resolve an issue where someone can come before this body and say, I must have the right to discriminate in order to follow my religion, I don't think you're going to be able to resolve in the next 2 weeks. And so we are going to have to make a hard vote. Some council members are going to have to make a hard vote next week, or 2 weeks. But it is personal. It's not academic. It is my life that is being discussed. And while we can say around this council chamber that it applies to the range of protected groups, and it does, and it is right and appropriate that the city of Houston finally acknowledges a local ordinance that respects African Americans and Hispanics and those of different religions. The debate is about me. The debate is about two gay men at this table. It is very intensely personal, and I don't think it is appropriate to forget that. Councilmember Kobash.
Okay. As you can see in this clip, what does she say? She says, this is very personal to me. This is about me. It's all about me. It's all about my rights. It's all about my beliefs, right? I got news for you, Annise. It ain't about you. It's about the people that you are supposed to represent. That's the problem with the left. You think it's all about you. It ain't about you. It's about us. And if you don't like it, we're going to throw you out. Okay? That's the reality. Or you're going to get a smackdown like you just had. You are in the minority in your belief system. And therefore, you're not going to make everybody in Houston, Texas think and feel the same way and see things the same way as you do. And she says in the video, as you can clearly see, this is about me. It ain't about you. It's about Houstonians. Okay? Now remember, this is the far left liberal mayor of Houston who demanded and was going to subpoena the sermons of Houston pastors. Okay? This is Hare Parker, you could call her. Adolph Parker, you could call her. I am thankful and glad that the people in Houston saw through this and shot this down. This would have been an absolute disaster. Talk about pedophiles using the women's bathroom, peeping Toms, all kinds of unruly and unholy subjects. Now, doing different things and cameras and everything else. And how do you think the women would feel knowing that there's a man in the bathroom with them? Or even vice versa. There's a reason that there's gender-specific bathrooms. Because it's specific gender, male and female. When you blur those lines, you affect society in a negative way. Now again, you may disagree with me. I don't care. Send me hate mail at thejoshbernsteinshow@gmail.com if you don't agree with me. All right, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we will have Charles Butler joining us. And we're going to talk about the debate that just took place the other night. But before we get into that, we know that Ben Carson has been in the spotlight here lately. They've been talking about his record. They've been talking about what he did back in kindergarten and everything else. I want to play you this real quick clip. And the reason I want to play you this is because this is how you handle the media. Never mind what Ben Carson said in the debate when he called them out as liars. This is how you handle the media. Go ahead and roll this clip.
And that's exactly what I'm trying to do, get to the substantive issues. This is all subterfuge. Things that happened 45, 50 years ago. That's all. That's and move on. As far as I'm concerned, they are out of the way. Now, and let me just say one other thing. I do not remember this level of scrutiny for one President Barack Obama when he was running. In fact, I remember just the opposite. I remember people just, we won't really talk about that. We won't talk about that relationship. Well, Frank Marshall Davis, we don't want to talk about that. Bernadine Dorn, Bill Ayers, he didn't really know him. All the things that Jeremiah Wright was saying, not a big problem. Goes to Occidental College, doesn't do all that well, and somehow ends up at Columbia University. Well, I don't know. His records are still. Why is his record still? Why are you guys not interested in why his records are still? Why are you not interested in that? Let me ask that. Can somebody tell me why, please? I'm asking you why it's still. Why? No, don't change it. I'm asking you, will someone tell me, please, why you have not investigated that? I want to know.
Why are you raising it?
Why? Because I want to know. You should want to know, too. The president of the... Wait a minute. Hold on 1 minute. 1 second here. Now, you're saying that something that happened with the words of scholarship was offered is a big deal, but the President of the United States, his academic records being sealed is not. Tell me how there's equivalency there. It doesn't matter where it is. Tell me how. That is a silly argument. Tell me how there's equivalence there. Tell me how there is equivalence there. Tell me somebody, please. Because you see, what you're not going to find with me is somebody who's just going to sit back and let you be completely unfair without letting the American people know what's going on. And the American people are waking up to your game.
Okay. Now, as you can see, they wanted to talk about things that happened 50 years ago. And he said, wait a minute. What about the fact that the president's records, Occidental College records, Columbia College records, everything is sealed? You don't care about that. You've got a sitting president with sealed records, yet you want to talk about something that I did in kindergarten 50 years ago? And then the media was like, well, he didn't put it in a book. And Dr. Ben Carson, to his credit, said absolutely, no. It doesn't matter whether it was in a book or whether it was somewhere else or whether it was written here or whether it was written there. The bottom line is, why won't you investigate the president? Why don't you care about that? Why don't you care about Reverend Wright? Why don't you care about Frank Marshall Davis and all the other unsavory characters that Barack Obama has surrounded himself with his entire life? Oh, no. That's not important, right? Instead, you want to talk about, entrance exams into West Point or something that happened when he was a child. I'm sure we've all done stupid things as a child, okay? This is the most gifted surgeon in American history. Okay, this is the person who separated conjoined twins at the head. Okay, it's not an endorsement for Dr. Ben Carson. As a matter of fact, I don't like the fact that he recently went to Puerto Rico, which is a commonwealth, and said that they should become the 51st state. I'm completely against that. I think he's bonkers. I think he's crazy for saying that. A failed leftist socialist commonwealth wants to become the 51st state. Why? So they can use our bankruptcy laws? So they can muddle up our electoral process that much more? I mean, for God's sakes, it's hard enough to win the election. Now all of a sudden you want to drag more electoral votes into the situation and have a 51st state? Or if you're Barack Obama, a 58th state? So to me, he's not my fan. He's not my favorite, that's for sure. But anyway, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll have Charles Butler, and we're going to go through this debate, because this one actually was a debate. Do not go away.
You're tuning into the Josh Bernstein Show, where Josh covers the news the way the liberal media would not dare.
It's 3 a.m. and your children are safe and asleep. But there's a phone in the White House, and it's ringing. Something's happening in the world. Your vote will decide who answers that call. Whether it's someone who already knows the world's leaders, knows the military, someone tested and ready to lead in a dangerous world. It's 3 a.m. and your children are safe and asleep. Who do you want answering the phone?
I'm Hillary Clinton, and I approve this message.
I'm Josh Bernstein, and I approve this message.
Fine. Oh, that's the tall one then. That's fine, but they have a smaller one that's cheaper.
Josh Bernstein here. You all know me as the hard-hitting and unapologetic conservative talk show host of the top-ranked Josh Bernstein Show. But did you also know that I have a softer side as well? I am proud and honored to be an official spokesman for a really great group known as the Association of Mature American Citizens, or AMAC for short. AMAC is a group focused squarely on meeting the needs and protecting the interests of America's seniors. We offer a conservative alternative on how to best solve the problems seniors face today. From saving Social Security to gaining more access and control over your health care, to answering your health-related questions and providing you with the products, services, and solutions that you seek. So if you are a senior 50 years of age or older and do not want more government-run and controlled healthcare solutions, there is another option. AMAC is better for America, and AMAC's got your back. AMAC.US. AMAC.US. Hi, Josh Bernstein here. Let me tell you about a fellow conservative and patriot named Arthur Mills. Arthur Mills spent 21 years serving our country. Now medically retired, he's still serving our country, but he's writing books now on how to protect it. Arthur has written 4 books, including the award-winning The Empty Lot Next Door. Unfortunately, due to his medical injuries sustained serving our nation, he must now use speech recognition software in order to write his books. His latest book, Friend or Foe, is an amazing story. Friend or Foe is a fun and entertaining modern-day animal farm that covers economics, environmentalism, and immigration. This story will help open the eyes of your children to the dangers of big government while frightening older readers with its modern-day relevance to many of today's issues. Friend or Foe is available for only $2.99 in both paperback and ebook versions at Amazon or through Arthur's website at www.branchingplotbooks.com. VA benefits only go so far, folks. Please, order Friend or Foe today.
You're tuning into The Josh Bernstein Show, where liberalism is a mental disorder. And Josh is the cure.
Welcome back to the program. My guest today is a writer, activist, and longtime radio talk show host. He can be heard every morning on the Genesis Communication Network. It is my pleasure to welcome Charles Butler to the program. Charles, how are you doing today?
I'm outstanding. How are you today, Josh?
Good. It's fantastic to have you on the show. I know I've frequented your excellent morning show probably somewhere between, what would you say, 20, 25 times at least?
I'd say you've probably been a guest of mine over 100 times, Josh, over the last 4 or 5 years.
Well, maybe I have. Gosh, it doesn't seem like it's been that long, but we've had a long working relationship, and every time we get together and we talk about the issues, man, we just let it fly. So that's exactly what we're going to do today. But I'm just absolutely elated and happy to be able to return the favor. I've wanted you on the show a long time ago, so I'm really glad that we're able to do it now on the actual television show. So what I want to talk about, more importantly than anything else, is we finally got to see a real debate. The CNBC debate was an absolute slaughter. It was a disaster. The one before that with Megyn Kelly, that left a bad taste in conservatives' mouths. However, I have to say that the Fox Business Network did a fantastic job doing the debate. Anytime you can have a debate and the moderators are not the main subject matter, you know that you're doing okay. What were your thoughts on the debate from the other night?
Well, my thoughts were that CNN complimented the Fox Business News commentators and moderators. I thought that was excellent, and it was well deserved. And you're right, we did get a chance to hear a debate for a chance. What I want to hear is from Hillary Clinton, for her to answer some hard questions, and for people to stop throwing up false narratives about her testimony and these other issues.
I would agree with you. Recently I put out a little campaign ad, and actually it runs on the show now. It's got over 25,000 views on it already. And what I basically did is I took her 2008 ad where she talks about who do you want to pick up that phone at 3 o'clock in the morning, where you see the children sleeping in bed, nice and cozy, warm, and then it says there's an emergency and this and that. And then she says, I'm Hillary Clinton and I approve this message. Well, what I did is I took her words and used them against her, and then I put a ringing telephone with scenes of mayhem and murder going on in Benghazi, and I basically said at the end, if Hillary didn't answer the call at 3 a.m. way back when, what makes you think she'll do it now? And so We've got to understand that we've got to do everything that we possibly can to make sure that every single voter knows exactly what took place in Benghazi, and more importantly now, what she's currently going through with her FBI investigation on Emailgate. It is absolutely amazing and astonishing that this woman has the gall to continue to run for the presidency. She is a security risk, in my opinion. What about yours?
Well, I agree with that, Josh. And being a veteran and a former intelligence officer myself, I can tell you that anything that the Secretary of State does is classified, and it's certainly sensitive, if not classified, secret, top secret, or for your eyes only. The thing that really bothers me about the mainstream media is that these people don't know anything. They're not well read. For instance, last night, Mr. Rubio said that he didn't know where the notion came from that we would no longer use our hands to work in America. Well, anyone who was around in the 90s would know that Bill Clinton said that when he put forth NAFTA and when he approved our manufacturing jobs to leave this country under NAFTA and other nefarious trade agreements. So that's why we don't have jobs in America today, because Mr. Clinton said that we don't need to have manufacturing jobs. We don't need to work with our hands any longer. We work with our computer boards, our keyboards. And you can Google and find those videos of Clinton saying that. In fact, I had one on my show this morning. You're
absolutely right. And again, this Trans-Pacific Partnership is basically NAFTA on Jose Canseco-style steroids.
Not only Jose Canseco, but you have Indonesia, which stands to benefit greatly from the TPP. The thing that bothers me about all of this, whether they're Democrat or Republican, is that nobody is listening to the American people and allowing us to read this trade agreement. This is not about secrecy. There's nothing, like Hillary Clinton's server should have been. This is not about classified documentation. This is a trade agreement, which should be out in the open.
Absolutely.
There should not be anything secretive in this trade agreement that compromises national security. And that's how they're treating this. Oh, the public can't read this document. The Congress can't read this document. I mean, who do these people think they are?
Exactly. And if we are able to read it, we'd be up in arms about it. I know a couple people that have actually read it, and they've reported back to me what it says. And again, there's a lot of really crazy stuff in it as far as immigration is concerned. I mean, there's a reason Barack Obama doesn't care so much about the executive amnesty, because he's going to get more than executive amnesty you could ever imagine in the Trans-Pacific Partnership, and in particular the Trade-in Services Agreement, which literally opens up the floodgates to as many as 40 international countries.
Well, I think, Josh, that the American people need to revolt. And I think that we need to revolt against not only the White House, but the Congress, because the Congress and the Supreme Court have co-opted the American people's will, whether it's in trade, whether it's in traditional values and morals. There is a new legislation out that's coming out, I heard yesterday from my people in Washington, that the president wants to sign a bill sponsored by Cory Baker, the senator from Pennsylvania, to change the Civil Rights Act of 64 to include LGBT people. I think it's a disgrace to try to link the LGBT community with civil rights. And this president needs to come clean about his interest in the LGBT community. And so does Cory Booker. and a number of other politicians who are out there pushing this agenda.
There's no question about that. And again, you know, I talked about in the opening monologue this far left radical lesbian mayor of Houston, Annise Parker, and some of the tactics, some of the Nazi-style tactics that she tried to use to, you know, quell the voices of pastors and things like that in and around Houston, Texas, but also this horrific bathroom ordinance. And then to say that somehow this bathroom ordinance, to say that men using the women's bathroom and women using the men's bathroom is somehow equated to owning slaves, the left is insane. They are chicken crazy, if you know what I mean. I'd like to say the other word.
I had the Texas executive director of the Texas ACLU on my show yesterday, and she could not answer the questions. And she kept, you know, I just pinned her down and said, you know, this issue was not about equal rights. This issue was about morality and common sense. The bottom line is, you know, people are transgendered one day. Like, I'm going to enjoy using that ordinance where I can go in a room and look at all these women in various stages of whatever in these restrooms, because I'm a transgendered male too today.
Exactly. I think that the whole thing is just deplorable, and I'm glad that the people of Houston had enough smarts to shoot it down. Let's talk about the debate. The executive director of NAACP was supposed to be on my show today, and he canceled because I think he knew that black people are not into this LGBT thing at all. And as the president said, David Axelrod said in his book about President Obama, if the president had told black people he supported gay marriage, he would not have won. And he's absolutely right. Black people have not supported Barack Obama. As a matter of fact, here in Chicago and in Illinois, he's always come up short in the black community because we know the guy. Right, exactly. And, you know, that brings up an interesting point. You know, a lot of black Americans are more conservative in their daily household, if you will.
Conservative and believe in God.
Absolutely, they believe in God, and they believe in a strong family, and would certainly like a strong family. And so it amazes me that, you know, they just saw color in 2008 and in 2012 to vote for this novelty, this, you know, first, you know, American Idol award-winning president.
Barack Obama was not vetted, and you know that, I know that, but they're trying to vet Ben Carson. Barack Obama's records are sealed. There's a reason for that. His academic records are sealed. My academic records are open. I was a naval officer. I was a fighter pilot. I was in naval intelligence. I worked for two presidents, President Bush and President Reagan. You know, those things are open. So why is everything about this president sealed?
Exactly.
He voted president in the Illinois
And more
Senate.
importantly, just as Ben Carson pointed out, why doesn't the media care? That's the thing. Why don't they care about the usurper in chief?
Yeah, well, you know, that's just the name of the game. But, you know, I think the American people have learned their lesson. We're not going to elect a woman because she's a woman. Hillary Clinton can't play that card. And a lot of women don't like Hillary Clinton, especially Democratic women, I might point out.
Yeah, it is true. She's losing women. Independents absolutely despise her. Men do not like her for the most part. So, you know, if she thinks that she's going to get minorities and women as a coalition, I just don't think it's going to be enough.
It's not going to happen. And also, Josh, I'd like to point out last night in that, or the other night in that debate, this thing about immigration. Blacks and Latinos oppose immigration reform, oppose bringing these people here and allowing them to stay here. We oppose those issues. And in every poll that's done, a legitimate poll, you'll find that American Latinos are not, illegal immigration is not in their top three issues. Jobs, education, schools, and the future of their children are, not illegal immigration.
Exactly, because it's going to affect them more than it's going to affect pretty much anybody else. I mean, if you look at the unemployment rate for black America, I mean, it's astronomical.
But you would think that American Latinos would support this nonsense if you look at the press. But like Cruz said the other night, if these people were taking journalist jobs, lawyers' jobs, we'd have a whole different narrative.
If they were swimming across the Rio Grande to take journalist jobs, it'd be on every single paper, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, breaking news. Absolutely true with that. What did you think about overall the debate? I thought overall that the moderators were not part of the debate. And again, I think that's why it was more of a success. Who do you think really did well and who do you think didn't?
Well, let's start with who didn't do well. I think Jeb Bush needs to get out of the race.
I agree.
I don't think he can buy votes. If Jeb Bush gave me $500 to vote for him, I wouldn't take it. We just go right down the line. Marco Rubio is a self-aggrandizing egotist. That's how I look at Marco Rubio. Rand Paul's a great guy, but he needs to drop out. He needs to stay in the Senate. Carly Fiorina, I wouldn't vote for Carly Fiorina if somebody gave me $1,000 check. I know Carly Fiorina. I worked with her at HP. She was there. I worked with her at HP before she became, a honcho. She was she was just a worker when I worked with Carly. But what she did to that company was horrible in terms of destroying the culture. Who else is there? Oh, Christie. Hey, he needs to go and be governor of New Jersey. I think Ben Carson did well in the little that he spoke. Trump did well, and Cruz did well. So, those three guys are hanging in there, and that's great. But, at the end of the day, they're not my ideal candidates. Right. And I would like to see someone in there, though, who reflects my views. And that right now, the closest person who reflects my views and my beliefs are Donald Trump. And I've said that from the beginning. And, the interesting thing is if you go to my website, you'll see a number of black people who support Donald Trump. Right. White people. I have all these videos, and people are telling me that they're excited about Trump.
And I think it's great. And again, I've interviewed other folks on this as well. And it's great that he's resonating with minorities, with Black America, with even Hispanics, because they get it. They understand that in order for you to be the jobs president, first you have to become the immigration control president. And the fact that he wants to control immigration, stop illegal immigration, and then to bring the jobs back and to be tough on trade and all these other things, that's jobs. That translates to people into jobs. And that's why they like him, because, again, Black America is getting crushed by illegal immigration, more than even white America.
52% of here in Chicago, 52% of Black American males do not have a job, according to the Illinois Policy Institute. And these are people who want to work. These are people who have families to support. These are people who have themselves to support. It is unconscionable that we are giving jobs and allowing illegal people to come here and take jobs because this is supposed to be a sanctuary city, which breaks all the federal laws that we have in place.
Exactly. And those are the folks that voted for Barack Obama, when you think about it.
Yeah.
So it's terrible. Before we go, I just wanted to say, again, it's been awesome having you on the show. I'd love to have you on again in the future. Your website is charlesbutlershow.com. What's on the horizon for you? Anything else that you want to talk about? Anything else you want to plug before we get going?
Well, no, just go out to my website, charlesbutlershow.com. And sign up, subscribe, and call your local program directors and ask that my show be downloaded on your network if you like what we're talking about here.
Okay.
Thanks, Josh, for this opportunity.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure, and I'm sure I'll talk to you real soon in the morning on your show.
All right. Thanks, Josh.
Okay. God bless.
Yeah. Bye-bye. You too.
Okay. All right, folks. So we're pretty much just about out of time right now. Charles is a great guy. He's a great patriot. As a matter of fact, I wanted to thank him for his service to our country. I didn't get a chance to do that. But last Veterans Day, I actually had Montel Williams, television star Montel Williams, on, another great patriot as well. So Charles is great. He's fantastic. I wanted to get into a little bit more of how we can get more Black Americans to vote, for conservative causes and for the Republican Party. We didn't get a chance to do that, but that's okay. We will do that another time. That's all I got. Until next week, God bless.
Thank you for joining the Josh Bernstein Show. Unabashed, unafraid, and unapologetic. Holding America to a higher standard. For more information on the Josh Bernstein Show or to connect with Josh, just go to StarWorldWideNetworks.com.